Gary Vaynerchuk is the chairman of VaynerX, a modern-day media and communications holding company, and the active CEO of VaynerMedia, a full-service advertising agency servicing Fortune 100 clients across the company's 4 locations. In the late 90s, after identifying the internet as a land grab opportunity, Gary transitioned his father's local liquor store into one of the first wine e-commerce platforms, resulting in growing the family business from $3 million to $60 million in sales during a 5-year period. During his time in the family business, Vaynerchuk also started one of the first long-form episodic video shows on YouTube in 2006 called Wine Library TV, filming 1,000 episodes over a 5-year window. Gary's wine knowledge, charisma, and uncanny ability to engage the attention of his community landed him appearances on national television with Ellen DeGeneres and Conan O'Brien, as well as establishing him as one of the most followed people on social media. Gary is a 5-time New York Times best-selling author, as well as a prolific angel investor, with early investments in companies such as Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Venmo, Uber, and Bitcoin. Gary's very successful online shows include Daily V, an online documentary series highlighting what it's like to be a CEO and public figure in today's digital world, the Gary V Audio Experience, a top 50 global podcast, and Ask Gary V, a business and advice Q&A show which can be found on both YouTube and Facebook. Gary is a board advisory member of the Ad Council and Pencils of Promise and a longtime well member of Charity Water. Without further ado, welcome to the Block Ventures ChainXchange XBV stage, the man who turned 1 letter into 3, Gary V. Vaynerchuk.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. So I've been spending the last couple of hours meeting a bunch of people here, and it really allowed me to kind of frame up where I wanted to go with my talk. And I think the word that's most populated to my mind at this conference so far is patience. I think that when I think about blockchain or crypto, when I think about AR, and more importantly, when I think about my career, I think the word patience is something that needs to be talked about here. This afternoon has been a lot of fun for me because it's kicking me vibes of the social media conferences I went to in 2005, 6, 7. It's kicking me vibes to the feelings I felt when I launched an e-commerce wine business in 1996. A lot of the conversations today have been around when does this go mainstream, when is it accepted, when, how, all these kind of themes that I've seen 2 or 3 other times. There was a time where I went to search conferences where people were like, when's search going to be accepted? And then all the way back to the beginning, when would the internet itself be accepted? For all the youngsters in here who are spending a disproportionate amount of time to justify blockchain or crypto, I want to remind you that there was a time when the internet itself was a fad. The first conference I ever went to that looked like this, I sat in a Chamber of Commerce event on a panel where literally old people made fun of me for 45 minutes because they laughed at the idea that people would buy wine on the internet, and multiple people on the panel that I was on said that by the year 2000, the internet would not exist. I really want to give a piece of advice from an old-timer who's been through a couple of cycles of innovation. If you spent as much energy that you spend on debating whether crypto or blockchain are going to succeed, if you took that same energy and actually became a practitioner in the execution within your craft, you would be much further along. 100%. To me, debating who's going to win a basketball game in the first quarter when the game's actually going to end and there's going to be a score up there is kind of silly in its nature. So if I could leave you with anything from my perspective, and there's a lot of interesting people speaking during this conference, I would highly recommend deploying a lot more patience. Whether you're right or they're right, it's completely irrelevant. It's going to play out, and then we'll all Monday morning quarterback. a lot of times when people debate me, and I can see that this is just a religious debate, there is no conversation, it's not a debate, it's just an argument, I often end with, cool, I'll see you in 2028, right? There is no other conversation. And so that's just one tidbit. There's another tidbit. 99% of the browsers and search engines that people made lots of money on in valuation in the mid-90s went out of business. I think it's very important for people in this space to understand that it is likely that 90 to 98% of the currencies will not make it. And so there's always moments in time where and what's so incredible about this space is there's liquidation along the way. Unlike when I was investing in early stage startups, you invested and it was either feast or famine. There was no liquidation along the way, which is what has attracted a lot of the behavior in this space. But I need people to understand, to me, blockchain as a technology is a foregone conclusion. But the currencies that are built on top of that have enormous volatility. For all the people here that like to tell each other how they made $1 million in 12 months from zero, I want everybody to know this is just my real life. I have over 10,000 direct messages and emails in my inbox right now of people who maxed all their credit cards and bought Bitcoin at 15,000, right? Who are in deep fucking shit, who are in massive depression and sadness. So please understand that when we're in these spaces, there's enormous volatility. And it's very fucking early. Like, real early. Like, real fucking early. And I think that the lack of patience of proving you were right or needing to make 10 million bucks or whatever the fuck is going through your mind is the vulnerability, the lack of patience in this collective, all of us here together, all the fancy people in the back and all the people here, our collective vulnerability is lack of patience. And so I genuinely believe that if you're one of the 2 or 3 people here who can fundamentally change your path from the quick score because of the gold rush nature of the oxygen in the room, to do you actually believe in blockchain? Do you believe in decentralization and start being meaningful? I believed in social media in 2006. There was a lot of people who came and went in 2006, 7, 8, 9, 10, who had a lot of Twitter followers. There's a substantial reason that I was able to see it all the way through and be in this space with the longevity, because my behavior wasn't helter-skelter. It wasn't, my pants weren't on fire because I thought this social media thing would be gone tomorrow. I am completely convinced, and this is not a disrespectful comment, I'm completely convinced that more than half this room thinks that it's a quick score game and have no sense or even are educated enough to understand how this all plays out. And I think within that is your opportunity, because I will say this, for the group that's here, you have such a substantial advantage over 99% of people because you understand this is actually even happening. The 99% of the people in the world understanding blockchain or crypto is the word Bitcoin, and that's where it starts and ends. 99 in the collective 7.7 billion people. Please do not underestimate the ability of you being somewhere early like you are. However, please be self-aware and figure out if you're here for the lotto ticket. Because I've met 50 of you, and 39 of you are here for the fucking lotto ticket. And I think that that is great. Like, do you. Like, I have no judgment. I could fucking care less. I just want people to take score of what's actually happening this weekend here and what's the opportunity at hand. I think the other thing that I'm very passionate about is understanding the media landscape that we live in during this revolution. Several people I know here intimately, there's others that I know from afar. I think the one great opportunity for everybody here is to understand what this is actually all about, right? Just understanding the foundation of us living in a mobile environment. One thing that I think a lot of people need to understand is how to leverage the current mobile social environment in your crypto AR future technology world. So if you really look at the history of people that have won or have had success within new innovations, they were able to leverage the current main innovation in a way to progress. So many people here have been able to be successful in monetizing cryptocurrencies on the back of building personal brand and being given tokens in exchange for PR services or vlogging or things of that nature. Please understand we are absolutely in the eye of the storm of the golden era of social media. Right now we sit here while Instagram story ads are $2 CPMs and have swipe up call to actions, and it's so uncomfortably underpriced I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm like pouring $100,000 a week into ads. I don't even know how to squeeze it any fucking harder. So for a lot of people here, so many of your ambitions are predicated on you communicating to the world. Please don't do what most people do, which is they jump to the next thing before they squeezed the current thing. One of the great mistakes in my career happened in 2007. I was literally one of the first people ever to produce a YouTube video that was longer than 5 minutes long, literally. I had the longest consistent long form show on YouTube in 2006 and 7, but because of my impatience or because I chased economics, a platform came along called Vidler, which was a YouTube competitor, and offered me 7% of the company to move my show, Wine Library TV, to Vidler. I did that because it seemed ridiculous, 7%, it seemed like a great deal. But what I left on the table was my deep understanding that YouTube was right and all the attention and equity that I could have built over that time. I believe that a lot of people here are getting so high on the supply of being right about crypto or blockchain that they're glossing over and thinking things like social and mobile are yesterday, and we're going to see another 7 to 10 year foundational run for those platforms. So please be thoughtful in the way that you're mixing your energies and your executions. I believe that the things that are current right now are absolutely foundational in your ability to extract value from them for what you're looking for to do. A couple other things that I think are important. You need to understand the human spirit in new technologies. In 1996, I thought by the year 2000, every single person would come into my dad's liquor store with a cell phone and scan the barcodes and know the price of every wine in the country. And so I literally lowered the price of every wine in my dad's store to cost, or the best price on the internet, because what I didn't understand was how long it would take to be accepted. Online dating was in play for over a decade before it was culturally accepted. I think a lot of people here are making bets on singularity, on AR, on VR, on crypto, on blockchain. You understand it, you're beginning to understand it, and you're making decisions based on your belief that it will be accepted or at scale in 24, 36, and 48 months. No question, the thing that makes me different at 42 than I was at 24 is my understanding and how much slower new technologies are, and how easy it is for us to get into the bubble of this conference and feel like everybody knows what the fuck you're talking about. But just for fun tonight, when you go to the casino or the strip club or wherever the fuck you do, when you go talk to normal people about crypto, pay attention that 99.9% of the people on the strip today have no idea what the fuck you just said. Knowing I don't have a lot of time, I'm going to say a couple other things that are a little more macro, and I'm sure we'll do a bunch of stuff in Q&A. The most macro thing I can tell you is that self-awareness is fundamentally the most important shit I've ever seen in my life. I am so addicted to this thought process. If I could wish you anything besides health, it would be self-awareness. Once you have self-awareness, once you actually understand who you are, so much crazy shit happens. And so, I'm unbelievably aware that you have ambitions. I think all of us have versions of what we wish we were versus understanding what we actually are. You know, I would be thrilled to be the starting quarterback of the New York Jets. That's not gonna happen. But very early on in my life,